Hello friends, and welcome back to another day on the vlog. As usual, I hope you guys are all doing so well. I hope this week has been treating you as good as it can be. You know, with everything going on in the world, we cannot promise that it's going to be a good week, but I just hope that you have been finding some good moments in the week. Let's say that. I'm setting up my snacks here. You guys, I'm so sad because immediately as I sat down to film, they started jackhammering outside, and so I'm hoping that doesn't mess up this video in any way, and hopefully this microphone does something, you feel me? But as you guys know from my last video, your girl is in Malaysia, okay? And I figured, why not try some Malaysian snacks, have a little chit chat, and answer some of the questions that y'all have been asking me. I know you guys have been curious about some things, and it's not that I've wanted to ignore you, it's just how do I fit it in, you know? So we're gonna do another Q&A video. I anticipate that it might be quite long, so I advise that you also go find some snacks, grab a drink, get comfy. We're gonna chat. I have, how many snacks do I have here? 2, 4, 6, 8, 8 different snacks that we're gonna try today, okay? And I did not know that y'all were gonna come with the questions, but you did. So let's just get into it, okay? Let's just get into it. I just went to my local 7-Eleven and picked up some snacks that, you know, looked local. I can't promise that these are actually from Malaysia. I tried to look and check if it's made in Malaysia, but they can be coming from Indonesia. This is product of Malaysia, you know. Forgive me if they're not strictly Malaysian, all right? I think there might be some Indonesian brands in here, but I know for sure that they don't got these in America, okay? So if you are from the US like me, I'm quite confident that you haven't seen them before either. So let's start off with one of them. This is called the Canton Lab Salted Egg Yolk Crinkle Cut Potatoes. I was like, that sounds quite interesting. Let's see. I haven't eaten lunch yet, and it's already almost 4 p.m. So this will be my lunch, I guess. It looks like they really packed that flavor on there. Crunchy. That's weird. That's weird. It delivers on everything it promises. You have that egg yolk flavor, salty, but it has the texture of egg yolk when you boil it. And if I think about it too much, it's putting me off a little bit. I don't know. It literally is like the egg yolk boiled consistency on top of a chip, and I avoid the egg yolk when it's boiled anyway, so I don't know. If you like boiled egg yolks, try this, but I am gonna give that a 3 out of 10 for me. But now to answer the first question, this is something that you guys have really been curious about, and I've gotten a lot of questions on, and it's all relating to how do I afford to keep traveling, right? How can you afford to be bopping from one place to another? I know. It's giving what's going on. And this question is, first and foremost, you guys know I'm a woman of faith, right? And one thing about me, I'm gonna trust the Lord for provision, okay? So honestly, when I see my bank account getting empty, I'm like, all right, it's just a matter of time before the Lord refills it, okay? And that he does. But to give a little bit of background about me, if you know a bit about my story, I was in tech in Silicon Valley. I had a tech job, and I left that job about 2 years ago now, but I do still have some company stocks from there, and I've just kind of left them there. It's not much by any means, but I was like, I'm gonna leave them there in case of any emergency. And when I quit my job, I had $10,000 in the bank, and I was like, this is more than enough. I'm gonna pursue my passions. I'm gonna pursue YouTube, and then I'm gonna get to that point where I'm just making bank from YouTube, if I could be honest. That was my delusional dream. Within a year, yeah, I'm gonna be like those YouTubers that make 25K a month. I'm like, girl, be for real. Be for real. That did not happen. That did not happen. And it's okay. We're still believing for it. But yeah, I was humbled very quickly. And so I was in Mexico City. The 10K ran out. And I was like, Lord, what are we doing? What's going on? You know? And if you guys are following the journey, you know that I had a chance to do some acting while I was in Mexico City. And it's so crazy because it was around the time where my bank account was getting empty, and I was praying, and I was like, God, what's going on? What are we doing? And I had a dream that I was gonna get 2 commercials, like very consecutively, back to back. And y'all, when I tell you, in the next week or 2, I got 1 commercial, right? And then immediately following, I got the other commercial. So that was the Petco and the Uber commercial, which you guys might have seen. I know you guys comment saying, I just saw you in the Uber commercial, which I really love. But I can't even begin to explain how faithful God was in that moment, because you guys wouldn't even begin to believe how much those 2 commercials paid me. Just take a guess. I'll tell you. But take a guess first, okay? Okay, now double that and maybe triple that, okay? Because why at the end of 2 weeks with 2 commercials did I have $15,000 more in my bank account? I said, what? $15,000? Are you kidding? That's how my God works, okay? That's how my God works. And so that is what I use for the rest of the year in Mexico City. Paid the rent, you know, did some traveling to Colombia, Hawaii. I was like, okay, perfect. And then to start this year, 2025, I actually did sell some of my stocks, which was, I'm really grateful for having that. And additionally, from YouTube, I do make some money. Right now I'm making like $450 to $500 a month. So it's not much, but when you're in Southeast Asia, like I have been, it goes far, okay? It goes quite far. So a combination of these, different side hustles and stocks and, savings and all these things have been what I've been using. Yeah, and I guess I'll just leave it like that for now. My goal with YouTube was to, to build my personal brand and get to a point where I can sustain my lifestyle from, my content and partnerships and brand deals and all that stuff. And it's still very well, like I'm still believing for that, but I'm not at that point right now. So stay tuned. Moving on to the next snack, I saw this thing. Quick bite. It looks like a corn flavored bread of some sort. Parissa jagung roti creme. Corn flavor. Let's see what's going on. Okay. It's looking like a just standard. Let's see if it's filled. It is filled. It is filled with some yellow cream in there. I'm assuming that will be corn flavored. Oh, wow. Oh my God. Strong corn flavor, of course. Initially, it's a bit jarring, but the more you eat into it, it gets better. It's like salty and sweet. And one thing I've noticed is that here in Malaysia, they really do like sweet corn. Like I just had a dessert yesterday and it was like a shaved ice thing. It's called ABC and it had sweet corn in there. So I was like, this is so interesting, but it does work. Yeah, I'll give that one a 5 out of 10. The flavors are well balanced, I'll say. Okay, now to answer the next question. Iced Roux Latte asks, how do you handle visa runs? Please explain your process. Okay, so in regards to visa runs, like when I was in Mexico and also in Vietnam, I still travel quite frequently. Like in Mexico, it wasn't an issue at all because their visa was 6 months. And so I knew I was gonna be going even just back to California to see family within that time. So it would automatically reset when I came back. But for Vietnam, truthfully, my initial plan was just to be in Vietnam for about 3 months, and if I wanted to extend, then I would just hop over to Thailand or Singapore or something and go back. And that's easy for me because I really love to travel, but I understand, like, if you are somebody that likes to stay in one place and doesn't really like to move around too much, it can be quite hard. But I would say with that, you either want to get a job that will give you, you know, your paperwork so that you can just have the, what do you call, residency paperwork, or it's really not that difficult to pop to another country, at least in Southeast Asia. Pop over there even for a weekend, renew your visa, and then go back. So just look into that. They usually do allow you to reset when you leave the country. Okay, let's move on to the next snack. This is called Twisties, and it looks like, I don't know, there's like some skewer pictures on there. So it's a barbecue curry flavor. So let's see what's going on in here. Okay, it's like these chip looking puffs. Oh wow. You know, one thing about them, they're gonna deliver on the flavor that they promise. Like, this is straight up curry in here. Lots of spices. I wish I can pinpoint each and every single one. I feel like there's some cardamom in here. I don't know. But it's like, it packs a punch. It packs a punch. Each one is coated really nicely. I'm not getting the barbecue, but I'm definitely getting the curry. The texture of the puff is light, it's fluffy, crunchy. Perfect snack. I like Twisties. I'll give these a 6 out of 10. I do wish I got a bit more barbecue. But then maybe they're not thinking like barbecue in the sense that I know it. Maybe it's like the curry is barbecued, so it's like charcoal. Still, I'm not really getting that. I'm not getting that. So I'll give these a 6 out of 10. They're pretty good. Okay, this next question is from Shay Nelina 1841, and it's a bit long, so bear with me. But she says, I feel like I'm at a crossroads where I would like to travel for a while since I'm not sure where I want to settle down. And as a single woman with no children, I feel this may be the best time to do so. When you decided to take the leap and live in a new country, do you plan how long you're going to stay, and how do you choose your next destination? How did you know that you didn't just need a long vacation and that you were ready to change your entire lifestyle? Girl, I hear you, and I too felt like I was at a crossroads where I wanted to travel and I want to know where I want to settle down, because I just knew that the United States was not it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, this place is ghetto. You know what I'm saying? So I just wasn't feeling comfortable there anymore, and I just needed a change. How did I know it wasn't just a long vacation? I didn't. I just knew I needed something to change in that moment, and I'll get into it a little bit more as to like how things have changed 2 years later. But in regards to how do I choose a new country? How do I decide how long to stay there? I don't really know. Like for Mexico City, it was funny because like the timing of it, my sister and I both were wanting a change, and she was the one that suggested Mexico City to me, and she was like, I think this city is really your vibe, so come check it out. And after I went there, I spent 4 days there. I was like, I love this place. This is exactly what I want. And that's how we ended up there for a year. And then in regards to being in Vietnam, I just knew I wanted to be in Asia to start the year. I was like, I need to be in Asia. I don't know, but I was looking up volunteer opportunities, and I found one through Workaway, and I was like, perfect. This would be a really good place to at least start, get my footing, and from there we can see how it goes, right? So, you know, I just started with that. I just took the leap. I went. You feel out the place, you get to know it, and then if you like it, you stay, and if you don't, you move on to the next. And after the time I spent in Vietnam, I realized that I don't know that that's a place where I can actually see myself longer term. So now I'm continuing to travel to find a city that I really like, that really speaks to me. But it's hard. It's very hard. It's very tiring. I wanted to, I guess I'll answer another question in here about like, I guess I'm just gonna answer my own question to y'all, but like solo traveling or just traveling in general is very exhausting, and especially like solo traveling, like, and having to plan everything and you know, figure out the visa, the SIM card, where to stay, what to do. It's too much. It's way too much. And I was gonna tell you guys at the end of the video, but I guess I'll just tell you now that I was planning to go to Sri Lanka actually after this, but the thought of planning another trip, like physically my body was rejecting that, and so I had to scratch that idea, and I just booked the ticket back home to LA for a bit. I don't know how long. It's just gonna be a little break, recuperate, regain some energy, and try to come at it with a fresh mind, because it can be quite tiring, and you know, trying to make YouTube work and trying to just figure out literally everything, it's a lot. But I want to make sure I'm answering your question, like how do you plan how long you're gonna stay, and how do you choose your next destination? I just go off of vibes. I think like Malaysia was not really on my list, but then when I was in Vietnam, I started hearing more about Malaysia, even though it's one of the countries that I never really heard much about before, and I was like, oh, let me check out Malaysia. And like the more you talk to people, the more you realize, oh, they've been there too, so they give you tips, and it just goes like that. I really hope this vacuuming is not too loud. I'm gonna pause until they're finished. Okay, they're finished, and now we're gonna move on to the next snack, which is these ones. This is called Malkist, and this is the barbecue flavor. I guess I was in a barbecue mood today. I don't know. Let's see. Oh, comes in a little tray like this. Okay, let's see. Nicely coated. Okay. That's different. The cracker itself, I like. It's layered. It actually says it has 7 crunchy layers. They're light, airy, crunchy. They deliver on that. It's the topping for me. It's like kind of sugar crystals, but like then you have like a cheesy barbecue-ish flavor that is a bit, I don't know about that one. All just very different flavors in my mouth right now, you know? But it tastes like the undertone, or like this was like baked in butter as well. So it's like a nice coating on the tongue that's like, you know, what am I trying to say? It's like a nice, warm, buttery coating on the tongue. So these ones, I'm gonna have to give a 4 out of 10. I promise, I'm not that harsh. I feel like the scores will start going higher once we get to the chocolate. But for now, yeah, that's gonna be what it is. I'm sorry. Okay, at J Hertrees asks, hey Tolu, I wanted to know what was the first country you visited and how was your experience there? This is a very exciting question that honestly, when I think back, I'm like, what was the first country I visited? Like, what was it? I want to say it was to Germany to see my little sister. Like, one thing about my little sister is that girl, she actually inspired me to be globetrotting, because she did 2 study abroad programs, one in Italy in Florence and one in Berlin. And I was like, well, this girl's younger than me. How come she's, you know, not afraid to be all over the world hopping around? So then I went to visit her in Berlin and I loved it. And I think we also took a trip over like with the train to Barcelona, met up with my big sister there. So that was amazing. And then just hearing her experience is what inspired me. to start traveling. And so I was so fortunate that my 5th year of university, I had some time to study abroad. And that's when I went to Paris for 3 months, but actually it was 2 because of COVID. And so when I was in Paris, I hit 8 different countries, y'all. In 2 months, I was like boom, 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 boom. And that was when I took my first solo trip to Portugal, which was amazing. And I think that's when my love of traveling really started, honestly. And yeah, that's when I like really started vlogging too. I did my first travel vlog in Lisbon, I think. And the rest is history. So yeah, that's sweet. Thank you for asking that, J Terry's. Hertries. No, J Hertries, sorry. Okay, before the next snack, I also want to answer the question of whether or not I prefer solo traveling versus traveling with friends. And honestly, I would say that I prefer solo traveling, and I will explain. Like, I think that when you're with friends, right, you guys are always together, you plan things in a group. Maybe sometimes you'll have a solo moment and go to a cafe and do some reading by yourself, maybe. But most of the time you're gonna be with your gang, right? And just think about it, like when you're in a group, you know, you're not necessarily gonna approach other people, and other people are not necessarily gonna approach you. You know, like we as humans, we're shy, or whatever you wanna call it. And I find that when I'm traveling by myself, it just opens up a whole new door of possibilities, of experiences, to meet people and just start chatting with a random stranger that I know for a fact I would not have done if I was with a group of friends, you know? And my personality is that I really like to connect with people, like especially on a one-on-one level. And so I just find that, you know, when I'm solo traveling, I'm just like, I'll just go up to a random person like, hey, what's up? What's your name? Start getting to know them. And yeah, I really love that. And I love just having flexibility in my schedule. Like I don't gotta care about nobody else but myself. I don't gotta wait on people that are lagging. I'm talking to somebody in particular, you know who I'm talking to. I'm just kidding. Yeah, you don't have to, you just go at your own schedule, your own pace, and it's very freeing, truly. But to add to that, and I'll talk about the safety aspect when solo traveling, especially as a woman. And I know this is a topic that is, you know, we should all be talking about, we should all be mindful of and cautious of, right? And I will say, like, you guys, it is truly by the grace of the Lord that I have just had safe travels over the past few years. I stay prayed up every day. I say, Lord, please, a hedge of protection around me every single day. And I know I'm protected. Like I walk with that confidence, knowing that the Lord is watching after me, you feel me? And if anybody were to try to do something to me, I'm just like, try me. You know what I'm saying? But in all seriousness, I think as a woman traveling solo, we just have to be more mindful and more cautious, always aware of our surroundings, right? And you know, I've been in situations where I'm like, what? Okay, I'm gonna say something and I don't want any of you guys to get offended, all right? But men can be so weird, okay? Men can be so weird. And I'm not talking about any of y'all on this channel, my brothers in Christ. I'm not talking about you, okay? Unless you be acting weird. But some men out there in the world can be so weird, and they have really put me in some uncomfortable situations where I have felt unsafe. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like it's gotten to a point where it's just happened so much over the years that at this point I'm not having it. You know what I'm saying? Like at this point I'm irritated. Like I'm so upset at how uncomfortable men have made me, and has made me not enjoy some of my travels the way that I've wanted to. So now I'm like, y'all can do whatever you need to do, but I'm gonna do me. And if you wanna, I don't know, I feel like nowadays, if I feel like I am in an unsafe position, like you will, like my whole body language will communicate that it's really you that is in danger. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just feel like men now know to not play with me. They know to not play with me. And I really try to be sweet and kind. You guys know, like, you know, soft, gentle heart and spirit. That's me. I'm, you know. but I refuse nowadays to play about my safety and like make men especially make me feel uncomfortable anymore. And so it's unfortunate that it's gotten to this point, like, because there's been so many occurrences over the years, but now I'm just like, no, we're not doing this anymore. Okay, I'm ready to fight. At this point, I'm ready to fight. So I don't know. It definitely, I would say, start solo traveling. Like, choose a city that you know is solo traveling friendly, especially for women. Start building up your stamina in this area, I guess, and it'll get easier and easier. Oh snap, it just started raining. It'll go easier and easier, and you'll just like start to build like a tough skin, I will say. And yeah, I don't know if that was helpful at all, but that's just a little bit of an insight into how I've been navigating things as a woman that's been solo traveling. I don't show you guys much of what actually happens, but there's some crazy things that have happened, and I'm like, it's by the grace. It's by the grace. I'll give you an example. So this was when I was studying abroad in Paris, right? And I was coming back from a Bible study. It was quite late, but the streets were empty. I didn't see nobody around me, right? I'm going into my apartment, and thankfully I always look back, make sure I close the door securely behind me. Tell me where I see this man, and like he's trying to slip in to the door right after me. And I say, where did you even come from, first of all? But I slammed that door shut, and then he keeps walking and he tries to say something. I said no. And I'm like, what would have happened if, you know, he snuck in behind me? My roommates were all traveling that weekend too, and like you really never know. I truly do not even know the kind of things that God has protected me from, and so that's why I just say my prayers and everything. But yeah, you just always have to stay vigilant, aware of your surroundings, and like just have some street smarts. You know what I'm saying? We got to start building that, especially as women. I took a self-defense class in college. Do I remember everything? Yes. And so, yeah, we'll leave it at that. Okay, time for the next snack. I feel like we should move on to a sweeter one. So this is called Big Thunder. Whoa. And it says cookie bar covered with chocolate. Speaking my language. Speaking my language. Okay. Ooh. Okay, looks like a, well, it is what they called it, a cookie bar. Yum. You can't go wrong. You can't go wrong with this. Chocolate on chocolate. I'm trying to think of what the chocolate reminds me of, because it's not like, it has a specific chocolate taste. It's not like Hershey's or anything. It's like there's one American snack that this is reminding me of, and I'm just not remembering it. But yeah, I would give this a 7 out of 10 or 8 out of 10. Really good, and delivers on everything that they promise. So it says popular in Japan. That's interesting. Okay, now for the next question. Ntobi Alani asks, please share about volunteering while traveling. Do you get enough time to explore? How many hours of work a week, and is it worth it? So, if you guys know, I started off the year in Ha Giang, which is a city north of Vietnam, and I was there for a few weeks volunteering at a hostel and, you know, helping with tours around the Ha Giang Loop, right? And so with that arrangement, and usually with all volunteering arrangements, you get accommodation, like usually a room in a dorm, like on a bunk bed, and then you get your meals covered throughout your stay. And so for that opportunity specifically, they asked us to work about, how many hours was it? Like a 4 to 8 shift. Yeah, 4 to 8 shift. And so for the rest of the day, like morning till 4 and then after 8 p.m., you're free to do whatever you want to do. And that's when I would take time to explore Ha Giang, you know, work out, try a new cafe, stuff like that. And I think it's a really great opportunity because you're getting your accommodation taken care of, you have a roof over your head, you got your food taken care of, you feel me? You're not spending any money unless you want to outside on your own. And you get to have a little bit more of a local experience, especially if you choose an opportunity that works with, you know, say kids or, you know, other local organizations of sorts. So I think volunteering is a really good opportunity to start traveling, and the chances are you'll be with other foreigners as well that can speak English, and it'll just make that transition a bit softer and smoother. And so yeah, especially if you are just starting to travel or solo travel for the first time, highly recommend looking to Workaway, World Packers, you know, sites like this that offer volunteering in exchange for, you know, accommodation and stuff. So yeah. Okay, we're coming down to the last few snacks here. This one is from Malaysia. It is, yeah, and it's called Puruku Pakoda. Puruku Pakoda. And it just looks like one of those table snacks that they usually have. Let's see. Yeah. I don't know what flavor it is in because I don't know if this is like Puruku Pakoda, but it's like tapioca, starch, salt. Let's just try it. Oh wow. That's very crunchy. Very crunchy and Indian flavors for sure. For sure. I think it is an Indian, it's like an Indian dish or a snack. I'm not mad at this, but it is like, can you hear that? It is on another level of crunch, but I feel like I can sit here and eat the whole bag. I can taste the cumin coming through and the curry and like just onion and garlic and stuff, but that cumin flavor, if you can imagine that. Okay, I'm giving this one a 8 out of 10. I like it. Puruku Pagoda. Yum. Okay, let's see. Any other questions? Ups and downs of traveling solo. Yeah, so I think I mentioned a little bit more about like the ups, like being able to experience things that you probably wouldn't have if you were with a group. And just, you know, just the growth, I would say. The growth that comes from it. I feel truly like a different person than the year started, and I already felt like I was like confident and all these things. I feel even more so now, even more so. I can go anywhere. I can talk to anybody. Amazing. So would highly recommend. The downside of traveling solo, I would say, is that, you know, you do start missing friends and family that are back home, and when you're having a moment that's so special and magical, you're like, life is not meant to be enjoyed by yourself, you know, like watching a beautiful sunset. Yes, sometimes it's okay, but like to always be by yourself enjoying these things, it's like, all right, what's the point if I can't enjoy it with somebody, you know? And so that one has kind of been hitting me a little harder recently. Let's see. I think if you were traveling with other people, the load of planning what you're going to be doing and where you're going to go next would possibly be distributed amongst the group unless you are the planner of the group. But traveling solo, like, it's really you having to figure out like where you're going next, what you're doing, keep track of SIM cards and money exchanges and, you know, translation and all these things, and you get used to it. Like, it's you build the muscle to do it, but like I said, it can get quite exhausting. And after about 6 months of travel this year, I can feel myself being exhausted a little bit and needing to go home and recuperate. So that's why I'm doing that. But overall, I would say the pros of solo traveling definitely outweigh the cons for me. So if you are thinking about it, if you are scared, please, I am begging you, try it just once, even if it's like local. If you're in the States, just go to a city nearby, book yourself a hotel, like start practicing with what you have, okay? It doesn't have to be halfway across the world to Australia, you feel me? Yeah. Okay, last two. This one is called Sea Snack Crispy Fish. All right, so we're gonna have some fishy flavors in here. Let's see. Woo, yep. Oh wow, I actually quite like that. I don't know. Okay, I don't know. Actually, no, I don't. It's like, it's sweet. Imagine the base is sweet, and then you have a fish flavor. But I thought it was giving me like those shrimp chips at first, because like those shrimp chips I love. The flavor is amazing. But this is like actual fish. And like if you can attribute the smell of raw fish with a taste, imagine that on top of a sweet base. And now I'm like, I don't know. Okay. This one is a product of Thailand, actually. My bad. They had it in the Malaysian 7-Eleven. I'm gonna give this one a 2 out of 10 for me. Okay, let's see if there's any other questions that I can answer. Reading Space asks, please do a comparison between living in Mexico and Vietnam. Where have you found the most free, most fulfilled, most happy between the two? Like, can you even compare the two experiences? Also, how has each country strengthened or stretched you in faith? How has each country affected your walk in Christ, both positively and negatively? Whoa. Thank y'all so much for these questions. These are amazing. Okay, let's get into it. Let me put some lip gloss on though. Okay, let's talk about it. So, living in Mexico City versus life in Vietnam. You know, they have their similarities in the sense that both cities are, sorry, not cities. Both, at least Mexico City versus say Hanoi, say Saigon, they are chaotic. They can be quite chaotic. The traffic can be crazy. The driving can be crazy. I would say the people are sweet, very kind in both of these cities and both of these countries. I have coined the Vietnamese to be the kindest people that I have met so far in my travels, and then like the Thai people right under. But like Mexico and Mexican people are also very sweet and hospitable and welcoming. What are the differences? I think it will boil down to the culture for me. If you guys watched my video, watch this before you move to Mexico City, you know, I've talked about how, like, you know, in Mexico City, I felt the machismo culture very prevalent there, and I just felt like the men made themselves very known in the city. Like, I don't know, that I wish it wasn't like that, but I just felt a bit more uncomfortable, I would say, walking around in Mexico City, just because like I was constantly, you know, getting stared at, and it was clearly not in a curiosity type of way. It was like in a sexualized kind of way, and I talked about that in that video if you want to go watch it. But in Vietnam, I would say, like, you know, I'm in Asia, it's a very homogenous society still in Vietnam, but the stares there are more so on the curious side. You can tell, like, I can just feel it for the most part, and I think that put me a little bit more at ease. Like, I felt a bit freer to walk outside and walk around, because yeah, I didn't feel like I was constantly being like, you know, you guys know what I'm saying? I don't want to. My experience in both countries were amazing in their own different ways. Like, in Mexico City, I got to live some of my dreams. I met some of my bestest friends. Shout out Maria and youuuu. And I just had a really good time there. And in Vietnam, I got to see most of, you know, this beautiful country and meet some amazing people along the way. And truly, like, some of the best sights that I have seen in my life have been in Vietnam. So I really love it. I think both of them have grown my faith in similar ways, just because, like, I'm on this journey of solo traveling, figuring out what I want in my life, trusting and depending on the Lord, you know, and He's been walking with me at each step in either country, in each city. And I think just having to rely on him for, guidance and finances and etc. have all grown my faith in that way. So I wouldn't say that one or the other grew my faith more, but I will say I was plugged into a church, a consistent church in Mexico City for the full year. And in Vietnam, I did a lot of traveling throughout. And so it was a bit more fragmented, and it was like a little harder to have like a stable church home, church base where I can like have that weekly community and like get plugged in, even though I did try as hard as I could. So yeah, I hope I'm answering your questions. The last one is, how has each country affected your walk with Christ, both positively and negatively? I wouldn't say either of them have affected them negatively. I would just say it's just strengthened my faith, and it's really actually called me to respond to the call that we have as Christians to go out into the world, and preach the good news and share about Jesus. And especially in Vietnam, where a majority of people they follow the ancestral religion, or like they're Buddhist or whatever. I was really praying and asking that God would like open my eyes to see any opportunity that he was providing to share him. And it was crazy to see, like, as I prayed that, he would open the door for the opportunity. And it was really cool to feel like I was partnering with God in that way. But again, the same thing also happened in Mexico City. So yeah, I really value both of these experiences, both of these countries so much. And they were very similar, but they were also different in their own unique ways. And I'm sorry if I'm not articulating how exactly so well, but I would say overall positive experiences. Okay. If you feel like I haven't answered any of your questions up to satisfaction, please let me know, and I will clarify in a comment for response. All right. But we are down to our last snack. I saved the best for last, I think. This is called Cloud9, and it's giving Snickers, but I'm going to see if they have any. It says chocolate bar filled with luscious caramel, soft nougat loaded with more peanuts. That sounded like a Snickers if you ask me. But let's see what's going on. Oh, it's a bit melted. Yeah. Cloud9. Let's see. Very similar territory to a Snickers. When they say Cloud9, they're not lying, okay? The marshmallow portion is almost like aerated. It's fluffier and it's thicker. So then you're chewing and it's like, oh wow, this is like a cushion, this is like a pillow. And then you have those accompanying flavors of the chocolate, of the peanut, of the caramel, just blending so beautifully. So this is good. This is really good. I am not mad at this. Best for last, I'm gonna give this a 8.5 out of 10. Ra-ta-ta. So that was all the snacks, and I think I answered all the questions, at least from the posts that I made and the ones that I wanted to answer from before. So thank you guys so much for continuing to join me on this journey. And yeah, I did book a trip back to Los Angeles tomorrow, actually, and the videos, they might be out of order, so don't just roll with it, okay? I don't know when I'm going to be posting this versus others, and just roll with it, okay? And yeah, we'll see. I'll be sure to keep you guys updated, but there also might be some content from the States when I'm there for the summer. Yeah, I'll keep you guys updated, but thank you so much. Y'all support means so much. Big love, and please take care of yourselves, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.